Okay, perfect.
Good, like that. Okay.
No, I was just waiting for it. We're on air, so we're live now. It takes a little bit to connect, I think. So, welcome to class today. Today we're just going to be focused on asking questions. All right, and so we're going to be looking at asking questions, kind of direct questions, and then more formal questions, and then even more formal questions. There's always 10,000 different ways to say something in a language, and so today we're going to play with the language a little bit. We will look at different examples. We'll make our own examples, okay? So basically, that's what the plan is for today. So let me go ahead and get started here. Any questions before we actually get started? Questions about questions?
No, for me. For me.
Okay. All right, good. So this is basically what it is. So making direct questions polite. That we're just going to jump in here and look at some common sentences, okay, or questions, I should say. And let's think about different ways that we can ask them. All right. So Ken, I'm going to have you read these examples here. So hold on a second. Why don't you read everything that you see on the screen here?
Okay.
Okay.
Making direct questions polite. Direct questions can seem impolite at times, especially when you are asking a stranger. For example, if you come up to someone and ask, "Does the train stop here? What's the time? How long have you been here? Can you help me? Are you happy? Are you unhappy? What's the name of the street?"
Okay, good. So these are the basic questions that I think everyone, starts out with, and that's great. They're very straightforward questions. It's easy to understand, but sometimes using more formal language would be a little bit nicer. So I'm going to ask you two here in the class if we can think of other ways to say, for example, does the train stop here? Is there something similar? Maybe it's not the exact same way. I mean, sometimes things are just what it is, and maybe you have to add something at the beginning or the end. It could be, hey, excuse me, which we'll look at in a little bit, or please, could you tell me when the train stops here? Okay, so I might add that one. Um, could you please tell me when, oops, the train stops here? Okay, so that might be an example. Kind of, Geraldo, do you have any ideas, anything else that we could say here?
I don't know, teacher. Anything else like what?
Maybe it's just a different structure, different way, or maybe if it's with one of these, for example, what's the time? We can say, what time is it? Okay, that's the most typical question. Things like that. And do you have any
Yes,
suggestions?
sometimes American people need say, "Do you have a watch or do you have a time?" I've
Do you
heard of
have
that.
do you have the time?
Do you have that time? Okay.
Oops. Actually, this needs to go up, so I'll cut this. I'll go like this. So do you have the time? I think this is actually, I think I wrote this later in the document. So
Mhm.
absolutely, do you have the time? What does your watch say? Um, what does your watch say? Basically, to me, that would mean that my watch is broken or something. I don't have the time. I don't know what time it is, and so I'm checking with you to see if I have the same time. Okay. So maybe the clock that I'm looking at is a little fast. Maybe it's, 5 minutes ahead. And so I just want to double check, the time basically. Okay.
So these two sentences means time check, not asking time.
What's the time? What time is it? Do you have the time? The first three are
Mm.
absolutely asking what time is it?
Okay.
Okay, those are the same. What does your watch say is I'm indirectly asking for the time. However, I feel that there's another little touch of something there that they're saying, I think my clock is wrong. What time does yours say?
Okay.
Okay, all right, good. So that's fantastic. What about this next one? How long have you been here? Okay, I'm thinking of a verb, but let me see if one of you two can think of a different example. Any ideas here?
How long have you living here? A bit different meaning, but
Have you been living here? Sure. Okay, that's fine. I was thinking, how long have you been waiting here? Okay, so have you been here? Have you been waiting? Are you waiting for someone? For a long time. Okay, so these are kind of the things that we're trying to look at today is, you know, look at different ways to structure the sentence, use different words, you know, similar words, things like that. All right?
how long have you been here? Suggest the waiting. You are waiting. How long have you been waiting?
Yes. How
Okay, I
long
got
have
it.
you been here in this moment? In this place, in this moment.
Okay.
Good. Yeah, if you have any questions, absolutely go ahead and let me know. I think we should move on to the next one. Okay, so can you help me? All right, this is a pretty basic question. Can you help me? Any other ideas on how we can say this?
Could you help me?
Okay, yep, sure. We just changed it. Could you help me? Um, let's do our, whoops. You able to help me? Okay, so that's a can, could, and be able to. We're using all of those. Are you free or, oops, available to help me? Okay. All right, good. Looks like we have a couple there. What about are you unhappy? Now, we can use different adjectives here. Okay. Are you unhappy? What would be another adjective?
Another happy.
Uncomfortable?
Okay, uncomfortable, good. Okay, are you sad, maybe? Or are
Are
you,
you
yes?
are you okay?
Yeah. Are you okay? Fantastic. Okay, so I think we're good with adjectives for this here. So that's good. And so we can just ask different ways. Instead of maybe saying, are you angry or are you sad, which seem to be more direct, like, I'm looking at your face, you look sad, so are you sad? Okay. So are you unhappy? Is something, whoops, something upsetting you? Okay, or did something upset you? Upset is again a negative adjective. It's all of the negative adjectives put together. Frustrated, angry, disappointed, sad, a little bit of everything. So it's always a good word to use. And for example, what's the name of this street? All right, I'm just gonna make some space here. Good. There's something else that we can say.
Can you tell me what the name of this street?
Okay, can you tell me the name of this street, or can you tell what the name of this street is. Mm-hmm. Okay, we can also say what street is this? Okay, a little bit more direct. Street is this? Or even what street are we on? Okay. When we're referring to on, it's more, your feet are touching the ground, so your feet are on the ground to the street. Okay. All right, good. So let's move down here a little bit. Okay, it's also common to make these types of questions a bit more polite by adding excuse me, okay, or pardon me. You begin the question, okay? And also here I've kind of added sorry to bother you and sorry. This is it sounds pretty American, I should say. And so that's why I have that here as well. So Geraldo, why don't you go ahead and read these questions, okay?
Okay. Excuse me, what time does the bus leave? Pardon me, which color do I have to buy? Pardon me, may I ask you a question? Excuse me, what time do you have? Sorry to bother you, but do you know the time? Sorry, what's the name of your friend?
Okay, good. So again, these are just, more typical questions, but at the same time, we're saying, excuse me, pardon me, or sorry. This sorry to bother you, to make this short, we just say sorry. It's not like, my book fell and hit someone's foot. Say, oh, sorry, I'm very sorry. It's not that. It's just sorry to bother you. Okay, so if you do hear that, we're not apologizing for anything. Maybe we are. Maybe we're saying, hey, sorry to bother you, but okay, but nothing really bad. Okay, so any questions with this? All right, doesn't sound like it.
I have a question of the previous one.
Okay.
On the street and in the street, what is the difference?
That's American and British. Well, in this case, you're referring to your feet, okay? You're literally on top of the street. And to me, that's why you're saying that. Now, if you were in, what street are we in? You can't be inside the concrete. Okay, that's what they're referring to. You can be in a swimming pool because you're physically within that volume of water. Okay, so that's a little different. That's in. However, in England, I'm relatively sure that they say I live in, Orange Street, for example. In the United States, I would say I live on Orange Street.
I see.
Okay, so
In
that's
America,
another.
always on the street, not in.
Which one?
In American English,
Yes.
okay, on the street.
Good question. Any other questions, Ken? I mean, from up here, from down here.
No, thank you.
All right, Ken, I do have a question for you. Did you ever hear this sorry when you were in the States?
Right. Big mistake about English among Japanese. Japanese say sorry in Japanese very casually, easily, but not in America because. But I think in this people use the same sense. Using sorry means excuse me in America. So yeah, I realized that after I been to America, and but
Well,
the same sense as Japanese. We say sorry for excuse me or pardon me.
All right, well, that's interesting. Actually, I'm going to do this from Spain. Here they do not say thank you well, they say thank you, that's true. But they don't say excuse me. I might say it in an angrily way when I'm angry at people in the street to kind of let them know that I'm trying to get past them. I don't know if this happens, Geraldo, for you, but I'll be walking down the street and people will know that I'm coming and will not move. And some of the sidewalks here are very tiny. And so it's obviously frustrating. And so, if I see people and I might just say, perdón, in this angry voice. And it's just part of life here these days. But it happens every day, and that's probably the only time I would say excuse me, really. Here. Yeah, it's pretty frustrating. But besides that, Geraldo, did you want to say anything about that? And how often do you say please and thank you in that? Because here, please, I would say it's used more for children. Thank you, they say all the time. Okay, all right, that's fine. Geraldo, if you do want to speak, just go ahead and unmute yourself too. Ken, did you want to say anything?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. And so I explained the American people, American guy on Skype. Sometimes he want to learn Japanese, so I explained sorry in Japanese has two meaning. I'm sorry and excuse me or pardon me.
Okay.
Same as English, yeah, actually. Yeah.
It's three.
Three. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, that's interesting. And, I think it's funny that you say that we don't say it that often, and I think we do say it quite often compared
Yeah.
to,
Right.
where I'm living now. So I just think it's interesting to kind of compare cultures as well. Hello, Chen-Hu, nice to see you today. So fantastic. Chen-Hu, are you able to unmute yourself today? Hello? Chen-Hu, can you hear me okay? Oh. Okay. That doesn't sound like it's working, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute you there. Sounds like you're moving boxes. It might just be the speaker. So, okay, that's fine. So Ken, why don't you go ahead and read these questions with could instead of can, which we've kind of already seen, but a little bit different. Okay.
The can be made more polite by using could. Excuse me, could you help me lift up this heavy box? Pardon me, could you help me with this translation? Pardon me, could you give me a lift to the doctor's office? Could you explain this answer to me?
Okay. And actually, there's a mistake in here. Lift. Give me a lift.
Yeah, I
Give
wanted
me
to
a
ask.
life. Give me a life. I don't even think I can make a joke about that. That just doesn't exist. So, good. All right, so I wanted to use lift here because I wanted to ask you if you knew what this means. Give me a lift.
I mean, oh, get on the car, please. That take me to the doctor's office or something. Like car.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Can you bring me to the doctor's office? And it's in a car. I mean, it's just absolutely known that this is a vehicle, and so that's basically that. Um, so that's fantastic. Any questions here? Anything that we're not really sure about? And so this is the other lift. This is a verb in this case, and this is a noun in this case. Okay? So that's also the difference. Even though it's the same word, it means different things.
Teacher,
Yes?
we also use pick up. Could we also use pick up?
Okay, well, actually, pickup is the opposite of give me a lift. Give me a lift is take me from my house to the office. And to
Uh-huh.
pick me up is, I'm at the doctor's office, you come to get me, and then bring me home.
Okay, I see.
Okay,
Thank you,
good
teacher.
question. Not a problem. But actually, I hadn't thought about that either. Good. So it's basically give someone, this me can be changed, give him a lift, give her a lift, give us. Okay, but this is actually, this all goes together there. All right. Okay. So I think those are pretty normal. Yeah, I think that's fine. So if we look at this, now we're using would, and we talked about the difference between would and could a little bit the other day. It's more will you versus, can you kind of thing. So that's what they're talking about, okay? So, Geraldo, why don't you go ahead and read this? All right. Can you see all of them?
Okay. Would can also be used to make questions more polite. Would you give me a hand with washing the car? Would he like to look at my new car? Would you mind if I went with you to the center of town? Would she like to try on this dress? Would you let me use this pencil for a second? Would you like something to eat or drink before we leave?
All right, fantastic. So again, these are just typical questions that we can ask, but just a little bit more polite, all right? So what I think might be a good idea here is to kind of do the opposite. What would be the more impolite way? All right, so would you give me a hand? Do you both understand what give me a hand means?
It means help.
Exactly. Okay, so this could be, can you help me wash the car, for example? Or we can say, will you help me? Oops. All right, so good. What about this? Would he like to look at my new car? What do you think we could put here to make it more direct? Okay, so we went from the first part of going from direct questions to kind of more polite, and now let's do the opposite. So would he like to look at my new car?
Do you want? No, do
There
you?
you.
Oh,
All right, well, since it's a boy, does he want to look at my new car? Absolutely. I think that's basically it because I was thinking of another one and it was a bit more formal. Um, would he be interested in looking at my new car? Okay, so this one would be a little bit more formal, kind of like the first one, okay? All right, so if we continue here. All right, would you mind if I went to the center of town? Went with you, sorry. Can I go with you to the center of town? Okay, we can say. Also in English, do you want company to go to the center of town? Do you want company going to the center of town? Okay, so we can say different things like that as well. Is that Ken that's thinking?
Yeah, do you want company? Maybe sometimes it's too indirect, I think.
This is actually basically saying, do you want someone to go with you? Okay,
Yeah.
do you want to not go alone?
Mhm. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I got a meaning. Yes.
Okay, all right, good. Any other questions with this? All right, I think that's fine. You get the idea. The idea is to think kind of outside the box, okay? All right, so this is separated a little bit strangely, so let me just put this all on the same page, and then we'll go down here. Okay, so another way of making direct questions more polite is to add please at the end of a question. Could you sit down, please? Okay, could you get me a Coke, please? Can I have some more ice cream on my pie, please? Okay, so we're just adding that nice little please in there. All right. Hi, Chenhu. Nice to see you.
Hi.
All right, good. So I'll have you read in just a second.
Yeah.
Chenhu, it is quite difficult to understand you, okay? So let me just continue with this. All right, so we add please at the end of the sentence, okay? We don't say, please, can I have more soup? Some people might say please before the question or before they say something. You know, if you're interrupting someone, for example, oh, please, may I have a minute? I need to say something. Kind of to get their attention and not just, can I talk to you for a second, please? Okay, so we might start with please in other situations, but in these kind of questions, you know, we wouldn't really use that please first. Okay, Chen, who were you trying to say something?
No, I just read see that we don't say
Yep. Right, this second, we don't say
more
please.
stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Exactly. We would say please at the end. Mm-hmm. All right, good. So let's move down a little bit. Chenhu, do you want to try and read these? It's a little bit difficult to hear you, but if you want to read everything that you see here, okay?
Okay.
Geraldo, Coke means Coca-Cola. Was that too informal?
May it use as
Okay.
a formal way to ask a
Okay, well, Chenhu, I think I'm gonna go ahead and finish this out for us. Like I said, it is difficult to understand you. So we use may as a formal way to ask for permission and is very polite, okay? It's normally used with I and sometimes we, and that's because it's coming from the speaker, okay? You're asking something for yourself, okay? So maybe, or we would say, may you open your book? We wouldn't say that. It just doesn't sound very good. Can you open your book is what we would say, okay? So these example sentences, may I ask you a difficult question, please? Okay. May I use the bathroom or the toilet in British English? May we help you with the party? And may I make a suggestion? Okay. So that's this. And Geraldo Tania had a question. So Geraldo, do you want to ask that question? It was about Coke, right? And that's just, let me get up here a little bit. Yep, could you get me a Coke? All right, I did that on purpose. It's actually Coca-Cola.
Okay, teacher.
That was pretty easy. And Ken, probably in the South, you know Coke as soda, okay? People will say at restaurants, what Coke do you want? They'll have a Coke, you say what kind?
Also, the people in Connecticut said soda as pop. I've heard of that.
Yeah, well, in Wisconsin as well, people
I
say
see.
pop. It's actually soda pop, the full name, but we've kind of taken one of those words. And actually, in the restaurant business is where I learned to say soda. Otherwise, growing up, I said pop.
I see. That means Coca-Cola or all kind of soda?
Technically, Coke is a Coca-Cola, okay? But in the South, they say, hey, what do you want to drink? They'll say a Coke, and then they'll say, well, what kind of Coke? And so they refer to Coke as all soda in general.
I see.
Yeah, it's just like, for example, in England, okay, a vacuum cleaner, one of those machines that cleans your floors at your house, they call it a hoover. They call, hey, I'm going to hoover the floor. Hoover is actually the brand, okay? Hoover is a type of vacuum cleaner. There are multiple types. And so it's just kind of one of those same examples as where you take the brand of something and use it kind of as the noun. Okay, so it's technically a proper noun, but we're using it as a noun. Okay, does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
All right, good. More culture questions. Good. Okay, so we talked about may, and like I've said before in kind of multiple classes, it's a little bit hard to think about the level of where's can and could and may, which one's more formal, which is less formal. And basically, can is the most basic, could is a little bit more polite than can, and may is the most polite. So any questions with that? All right, doesn't sound like it. So we'll go ahead and come down here. All right, so now we're talking about indirect questions, but very polite. All right, so this is even more formal, and it's not just a word, but it's called an introductory phrase here, okay? So that's this. So I forget whose turn. Is it Geraldo's turn?
Okay.
Right.
Introductory phrase plus question word or if plus positive sentence. I am wondering if you could do me a favor for a minute while I go upstairs. Do you happen to know when the next bus leaves for Madrid? Would you mind if I open the window a bit? It's quite hot in here.
All right, fantastic. So we'll go up just a little bit. And so it's even a more polite way of asking questions, all right? So you're asking for information. The information is requested. The information requested is the same as indirect questions, but are considered more formal, okay? So if I say, I'm wondering if, okay, you could do me a favor for a minute while I go upstairs. All right, so this, I'm wondering, we can also use I wonder in the present simple form. Okay, basically the informal way would be, can you do me a favor? Okay, so that's kind of the difference between, hey, do this for me, or hey, would you mind? I'm just wondering if you could help me a little bit. I need to go do something. It's kind of like when you're younger and you ask your parents for money. You're not going to say, hey, Dad, give me 20 euros or $20 or 20 whatever. Okay, so, hey, Dad, I'm going to go out with my friends tonight, and, if you had some money to give me, I think it would really be helpful. You kind of ask very politely. All right, and just add a whole bunch of words, basically. Okay, so do you happen to know is the same thing? Do you know? Okay, or you can just say, when does the next bus leave for Madrid? That would be our informal, okay? Does the next bus leave for, Madrid? Okay. And then here with this last one, would you mind if I opened the window a bit? It's quite hot in here. Pretty formal. I could say, can I open the window? Okay. Always giving a reason is best too, in these more formal situations. All right. So any questions here for the moment?
We could also use I was wondering instead of I'm wondering.
Yep, you can use the past tense as well, and I'm actually not exactly sure. It's a really good question. I'm not exactly sure how that comes into play, Maybe it's kind of like, in Spanish there's a subjunctive, and so it's kind of a different way to ask, or I hope that you have a good day, or have a good day. These are technically kind of wishes. These are things that you hope happen. And because it's not 100%, how do I say this? It's not 100%, it's more of a hypothetical situation. In Spanish, you use the subjunctive. So it's kind of this imaginary, beautiful verb tense. In English, we don't have that. Excuse me. But we do tend to use the past tense. Okay? So I would say, if I were you, okay, I'm saying if I were you. This were is in the past tense, okay? And so that's when we are using the past tense and kind of in the situation of the subjunctive tense. So it looks like you understood that, so that's fantastic. Ken, I'm pretty sure you're probably lost, so don't worry about that. It's just a hypothetical situation, all right? But do you have any questions?
No. This is a kind of typical entering exam type question here. And using past tense for the polite form is same as Japanese. Yeah.
Okay. All right, perfect. Well, I didn't know we had so many similarities in our languages.
Right. Maybe human feelings somewhat same, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot, but there are similarities in Spanish and English as well. And so all of these languages have to be connected from something, if it's Latin or, whatever. So that's interesting. Okay, so I'm going to read this. So if you're asking a yes or no question, we can use if to connect the introductory phrase with the question statement, or we can use a question word, and those are who, what, where, when, why, or how, to connect the two phrases. So I have some examples here. All right. So for example, do you know if she will come to the party? A different way to say that is, do you know when she is coming or when she is arriving? Okay. So we're talking about two different actions here, and I just wanted to point this out. When she's coming is, when she's on her way, when she's in her car, when she's walking, or I'm talking about the specific moment in which she arrives, she gets to the house, okay? So a little bit of a difference. I mean, coming could also mean when she's leaving her house, okay? So from the moment that you leave your house to the moment that you get to the party, you're coming. The next one here is, I wonder if you can answer a few questions. I wonder when you can answer a few questions, okay? So we just change this if for when, just to make it a little bit different, okay? This is if you're, available, okay, more so than this is talking about the time, okay, and that's with when. And very similar to the next part, can you tell me if she is married? Basically, do you know if she is married? Okay, let me just write that in here. Do you know if she is married? And can you tell me when she got married or if she is? All right, so this is basically saying, can you tell me? Which I think she's married, so I'm asking when she got married. Or this little second part here is, or if she is married. All right. That's what this is referring to here, okay? All right, so this is the end of the presentation. There's nothing else here. So do either of you have any questions for me? Don't forget to ask them in a polite way. Go ahead, Kevin.
Last sentence, can you tell me when she got married? So she have already got married.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. The very, very first one, can you tell me if she is married, is she married or not? Okay. And that's the same as, do you know if she is married? Okay. We changed that can you tell me to do you know? And then the last one is, can you tell me when she got married? Because in this, it's similar to those question takes where you do your opinion first in the first part. Okay, so I think she's married in this case. So can you tell me when she got married? And then if I'm doubting myself and say, well, maybe she isn't, or if she is married.
Okay.
Okay, good. Any other questions here? Doesn't sound like it. All right, well, that's fine too. So if you don't have any more questions, I suppose we can finish up for today. I think we did pretty well with this, and it's just, trying to think outside the box, like I said, trying to just see different ways. And I think the more you're exposed to the different language, or in this case, obviously English, I think it's easier for you to understand and even to maybe say things differently when you're ready. Okay, so here in Spain, what I do is I hear something, I kind of listen to it, understand it, and then I'll use it after I've thought about it for a while. Okay, it might be a couple weeks, might be a couple months, but that's how I've been kind of, getting better at Spanish here now. Is just by listening to people and listening to the structure of the sentences and things like that. So that's why I want to expose these new things, and let's think about different ways of saying it. Okay, sometimes they might have a slight difference in the meaning, but the main idea is the same. Okay? All right, any final questions? Anything else, Ken or Geraldo?
Teacher, I heard somewhere it's kinda rude to ask about, if somebody is married or how old is somebody. I mean, in Spanish or in Mexico at least it's not rude, but I heard somewhere that in US it is. So I'm not sure if I am correct.
I don't know if it's actually. It depends on the situation. Okay, I'll say that. If it's for a job interview, okay, and they ask if you're married, it doesn't affect your job at that point, and so they probably shouldn't ask you. If you're out at the bar and you're meeting people and you see a girl that you're interested in, sure, go ahead and ask if she's married or with somebody because you don't want to waste your time. So it's kind of like the age thing too. In a work setting, they shouldn't ask you your age because they can discriminate against you for that. And also they say for women, you're not supposed to ask their age. So if you ask in one of these nicer ways, I think that would be okay.
Okay.
Or definitely say like 10 years younger than what you actually think they are, just to be sure. So are you like
Okay.
18 or? That'd be a nice compliment. You can laugh about it, something like that.
Okay.
So one rock band appeared in Japanese radio, and DJ asked them, "How old are you?" in Japanese, and translator translated, "Can I ask your age?" Is it the polite way of asking age in English? Or
Yep. I would exactly ask, can I ask your age? Is it appropriate to ask how old you are? Using the word age by itself is a little bit more formal, so that's also a really good way to ask.
I see.
Do you mind asking your age? Is probably the best best way you can ask that without being rude.
But I heard in job interview asking age and requiring photo is illegal in America, right?
Yeah, technically it is because they can't discriminate against you. I know my mom was looking for jobs, and you have to put years that you graduated from college, and hers was a long time ago. And just from that, you can tell how old she is. And she was even saying that they shouldn't do that because that's still saying you're 60 some years old or going to be 60. And people don't want to hire you at that age because they think, oh, well, they'll just work here for a year and then they'll retire. So I think that's the, and also if women are pregnant, okay, they cannot legally ask you if you're pregnant. So yeah, so those are important things too. So very good. Any other questions? Okay. All right, good. All right, well, I think that's about it then for today. Again, at the same time on Thursday. All right, we'll do personality adjectives and idioms, okay? So definitely take some notes, and hopefully I will see you then. So both of you have a great day, and anyone who was watching, doesn't look like anyone's watching now, have a great day as well. All right?
Thank you very much. You too.
All right, thank you very much, and I will hopefully see you soon. So bye.
Bye.
Goodbye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye. You're
Happy day.
welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.